Today's comics market is ripe with new titles by creators who are determined to get their books into your hands. My name is Onrie. For the last decade, I've been making and selling my own creator-owned comics and dealing as a collector in live sales. My signature series, Hutchinson, is the book that cannot be defeated in battle and has over 250,000 copies in print. Now I'm taking comics to the next level and laying the groundwork for my fellow creators to get their voices heard so they can connect directly with you. This is your chance to engage live with top comic book talent and get your comics signed without having to wait in long lines or pay any fees. But remember, we only have a limited amount of their books in stock, so always remember to call it as you see it. You're watching Virtual Signings with Onrie, the live event show. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Virtual Signings with Onrie. I am your host, Onrie Copeland. Today we got two really awesome guests. Our first guest, who we have coming up here, is good man, someone I've known for quite a while now, and he has been a major North Star for me in figuring out how to balance everything as a comics creator and a comics dealer. Chris, what's up? Adam, what's up? Mike, what's up? Good to see you guys. And he's a man who needs no introduction, so it is my pleasure to welcome Tom Hutchinson of Big Dog Inc.
No, do that all over. I need introduction. I need music. I need Titantron. All of the things.
All right, hold on. Let me just go to YouTube and type in the music for the Eternals, like the.
That's right.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. So Tom, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good.
So you got a Kickstarter going right now.
That's what they tell me. I guess.
What can you tell us about this Kickstarter?
Yeah. So basically, we are attempting to launch what will be potentially the first in a line of action figures for Big Dog Inc. We were approached by the guys that do figures for Lady Death, the Coffin Comics guys. They do stuff with Dynamite, all that kind of thing. They were like, "Yo, is it time to do some figures?" I was like, "Yeah, it's time. It's time to do figures like 5 years ago." And they were like, "Yep, so it's time to go." We talked about what to do, how to do it, and we decided on doing Critter first. Critter is, of course, our superhero action hero superhero who's been around now for celebrating 12 years of publication here at Big Dog Inc. And they did a brand new mold for us, brand new sculpt, 30 points of articulation. It's going to be in like a nice collector's box. This is a legit, real deal action figure, man. Just like you'd go to the cons and you'd find these Star Wars black figures and things like that. Really nice box, really nice sculpts. And Critter is it. Critter is what we're starting with. And she is now, well, we're on day 14. We're finishing day 14 tomorrow at 3 p.m. and then we start the final 2 weeks of the campaign. We need 35,000 for this campaign to hit. It's a huge number that we need, but in 2 weeks, I mean, obviously there's still another whatever it is, 20 hours left. We've already passed the 26,000 mark. We're 26 and change, 26.5, something like that. We could be 27 by tonight, which means we're only looking at about $8,000 left for the last 2 weeks. So very, very doable. If you are not an action figure fan, there are comics to pledge for. Some older variants. There's art prints. We did our first ever Critter art book that is available there with a brand new Bill McKay cover. So there's all kinds of stuff there beyond just the toy. But what we're trying to do is really get this toy done. And there's two versions of it. So there is the classic blue, which is more or less this here, the classic blue. And then there's the modern blue, which is a little bit different. The design's a little different. It's a little bit darker blue. That just represents the differences for her in the comic itself. So there's two versions. You can buy one or the other, or you can buy both. And if you buy both as the 2-pack tier, there's a special comic only available in that 2-pack tier, cover by Keith Garvey, which is gorgeous. 200 total. We're already past the halfway mark on those being gone. So like I said, there's a lot going on the campaign, even though it's very streamlined because the goal is the toys. There's a lot going on, and anybody that doesn't know anything about Critter, we can start you off with, trade paperbacks. We can get you in at the beginning so you know the story. We have the trade paperbacks, beginning of the story, or variant covers, whatever you want. There's tons of stuff in there.
So Tom, I want to slow down for a second, because you're moving at lightning pace with this campaign, which of course is what you're supposed to be doing.
We're trying, yes,
of course, yeah. But I'm a kind of like stop and smell the roses guy, and I gotta say, this is really amazing what you're doing right now. So how does it feel, like, holding up that action figure? I mean, obviously this is something that every creator wants to see happen eventually, and here you are making it happen. So, when you kind of have a moment to stop and smell the roses, like what kinds of thoughts are going through your head? Are you thinking about the next thing already, or are you like, man, I can't believe I've done this?
I'm already working on Ursa Minor. I mean, that's March. I have to work. I have to do it. I mean, the book's already halfway done. We're trying to stay way ahead. No more late books. We're fixing that problem. But we're right in the midst of this campaign, and it's really crazy to be at 26,000 and change and not be funded. Like, that's terrifying to me. But this is a different animal. This is not a comic. This is not what we normally do. So this is a whole different set of rules and methodologies. And it's crazy exciting because we've done so well in this first essentially 2 weeks. We've done really, really well. And we should be able to hit this immense goal within the next 2 weeks, and actually make, not just, here's the cool thing. So there's multiple check marks here. Yes, we're making action figures. That's awesome. I mean, that's like one of the dreams of comic creators, is I want an action figure of my character. Like, dream, that's the box check. But what it also is the potential to, if this one works and we have proof of concept, that opens the doors for, okay, now we can do Dorothy Gale. Now we can do Joan of Arc. Now we can do Scheherazade. Now we can do more toys. So this isn't just one and we're done. This is like, the door flew open. Now we're doing a line of Big Dog Inc. toys. And then all of that kind of combines together to be Perception, right? So Big Dog Inc. is not just, hey, here's a dude that makes some comics. No, now suddenly Perception changes because, holy shit, they made 1,000 Critter action figures. That's amazing. Who are these guys? What is this character? How do I learn more about this toy? Perception change in an instant. It's the Infinity Gauntlet, man. It's all of these pieces that fall together and you get a snap. And when you go to Comic-Con and you can put those toys on your table, it changes who you are. And for better or worse, but it literally changes who you are. You're no longer just making a copy of, here's your comic book. You're now in the multimedia world, right? Whether it's comics, whether it's a TV show, whatever, cosplay world. We've had tons of cosplayers doing Critter stuff, which has been fantastic over the years. I love it. So yeah, so it's there's a lot of doors with this campaign. And so the sooner we hit it, the wider those doors blow open.
Mm-hmm. So you were mentioning that, you have a bunch of things lined up here. And as somebody who is, looking at what you're doing and completely inspired by it, for everybody who's watching right now, I'm a big fan of what you're doing, Tom. And I am a backer already on this campaign. And honestly, I have to say, I owe it to Tom that I'm even here right now doing this show, because when I saw Tom getting into live sales, and I asked him how he was doing it, he helped me out, and now here I am, and everything just kind of, the rest is history. But as I see you constantly pushing the needle forward and, trying to get books done faster, or at least get them out on time, and getting all these new things done. And then you have appearances that you have to make in order to reach your goals. So can you tell us a little bit about like what you got planned for the next 2 weeks? Because you're in that area that everybody hates the most in any campaign. You're in that dreaded middle point.
Yeah.
So,
And this is even worse because I'm back to 4 weeks. I actually shaved off a week on all our comic campaigns because I'm like, screw this. This is terrible. This 2 weeks in the middle is the worst ever. So I shaved that down to have one terrible week in the middle of a campaign. But I figured we'd probably need some time to hit this monster goal. So I was like, this is fine. We'll be able to relax a little bit, assuming we have a really good start, which we did. We'll be able to relax a little. We'll be able to really focus on that final number. Next week, I'm on live shows like almost every single day with a whole bunch of different people. In fact, I just got today, literally, somebody just messaged me out of the blue, and they were like, "You want to be on my show?" I'm like, "Yeah." So it's great. I did call in one favor for a show. I don't do that usually. I don't go on and be like, "Yo, can I come on your show?" Like that just doesn't happen. But I know a guy who has a really big reach. He's been a friend of mine since the very, very beginning of my comics run. He helped me figure out how to start making comics. This is Michael Dolce. He does a podcast called Rogue Wave. You guys should go watch it. They're very, very clever. They're very smart. Him and Hassan are great. And I was like, yo, you want to put me on your show before my campaign is over? And he was like, yeah, man, of course we can make that happen. So I was like, dude, super cool. Super awesome. They get a great big following. So hopefully we can pull a little out of that. But yeah, it's just, it's tomorrow is Catterday. Every Catterday of the campaign, we'll have a little something new for you guys to add on to your campaigns. Last week we did the book, the Critter art book with the Bill McKay cover. It was huge. Everybody exploded on it. It was like, boom, give me this book. And I'm like, yeah, but we got to get to this number too. So we had a really great weekend with that art book. You got a really great pop. We'll do some more fun stuff tomorrow and, start to lean into this final 2 weeks and make it work for us.
Now, do you, seeing how you do everything, I really kind of look at you as a pioneer. Because Kickstarters are, they're difficult, and I'm actually trying to educate myself on how to run them better. And so I'm watching you and how you're doing everything. What kind of advice do you have for people who are jumping into this, and what can they do in order to kind of like get themselves into a position of being able to work over that hump? I love your concept of Catterday, by the way. I think that's such a brilliant idea. Giving someone something new, even if it's something small, it's something, exclusive, something that feels like, oh, you can only get this once I add it at this point. And
we started doing Catterday last year. Catterday became a thing for us. Like the first Saturday of every month was Catterday. We were releasing Critter comics and having some fun with some variants and so on. It's branding, it's marketing, it's fun. That's what we're doing here. If you're not ready for branding and marketing and fun, creating fun for your followers and your fans, then just stop what you're doing because you're in the wrong business. As far as the Kickstarters and stuff, you do what you're doing right now, because that's what I did. I watched people that were successful. I didn't copy what they did, but I looked at what they were doing. I figured out kind of like, okay, why is that working? Does this make sense to me? Because not all of it's going to make sense. Like if you look at Brian Pulido, there's a lot of stuff that he does that doesn't make sense to me. He's very successful with it. I'm not saying he's doing anything wrong, but for me, as far as like a trickle down effect to like, okay, what could I do that he kind of does, but do it my way? And that's all I've done is trial and error kind of through that kind of stuff. But you watch the people that do it, you kind of see if anyone's doing something specific or special or outside the box, and you see if you can kind of modify that and make it your own, because you don't want to just be like, oh, I'm copying what that guy does. You got to make it your own thing. You got to brand yourself. You got to brand your character. You got to brand your book. You have to have people, when they come up and see it, they're like, what is that? And then the branding goes further, because like when I do my Kickstarter campaigns, all of our images, when we post stuff, all of our images have a same sort of design to it. So whether it's Critter, Ursa Minor, Penny for Your Soul, Princess versus Zombies, it all has a similar branding design. Just dropping in the art so okay, this one is Princess versus Zombies, this one's Ursa Minor, whatever. So basically that is figuring out figuring out how you are going to appear to your audience on a regular basis. That's important. And it's a piece that a lot of people kind of miss. But then again, a lot of people are just kind of doing vanity press too. They're just like, well, I just want to make a comic and just say I did it. Awesome. Go do it, man. Go make it, get it done, get that bucket list checked off. But if you want to take the steps forward to kind of make your hobby pay for itself and then eventually pay your mortgage, there are extra steps that you have to take to kind of push it all forward. And we've been doing that for the last, 12 years now with Big Dog Inc. Off and on, giant roller coasters up, giant roller coasters down. But now again, we're at this point where it's like this opportunity fell into our lap of like, oh my God, we're really making an action figure. What in the world is going on? Because that's crazy to me. But if we can pull this off, again, it's the doors blow open for us.
I think you're going to pull it off without a problem. And and I love the approach that you're taking. And you've really given me as a professional an idea of what those next steps need to be, because I think you're right. A lot of people get into comics because this is a fun industry to be in, as a fan especially. You go into a comic shop and you get to chat with people about comics you've read or TV shows or movies, whatever. But when it comes to actually making a living doing this, you have to put on a completely different mindset. There are those extra steps, and it is possible, despite what everybody says. Like,
sure.
Can you pay your mortgage working in comics? I mean, you're the example that it can be done, and everything comes down to what kind of plans you have in place and how you're making it work. So, how are you able to balance all of this, especially like as a dealer too? Because you got a lot going on. You're spinning a lot of plates. Yeah.
Yeah. The plates are always spinning. They're always spinning. Yeah. I do live shows, Comic Book Shopping Network on Facebook. I just got approved to do Whatnot, the app sales thing. So I'll be starting to do those pretty soon. It's a lot. I mean, it really is a lot. So the answer is just figuring out how much you can do. And maybe even more importantly is figuring out when you can't do it and saying, I can't do it. Like, there's been a couple of times where I'm just like, dude, I cannot do a live show today. I just can't do it mentally, physically, business wise, what's going on behind me. I just can't do it. And I'm just like, okay, we're not going to do a show today. Come back next week. We'll be fresh. We'll be ready to go. And we go again. The as long as you're consistent enough, especially at the beginning that the fans are like, oh, Tom's back. Oh, Tom's taking a week off. Okay, we'll see you next week, Tom. Then they come back next week. It's not a big deal. Don't crush yourself under the weight of all of the things that you have going. Focus on the things that need to be done, and then the stuff that's sort of on the fringe or the fun stuff, quote unquote, whatever that is. Touch on those things when you can.
Now, you are putting out new content as well with this campaign. So you're not only financing this action figure, you're also financing this special comic that people get when they back this.
Right.
So this is unprecedented for you even. And we've spoken about what writing is like for you, especially in the beginning for me. I remember asking you, and you were telling me, it's like going into the office. Like if you're going to write, this is the day that you turn everything else off. It's going into the office, you focus on writing, and that's it.
Yeah, you have to. And the hard part with writing is, generally speaking, there is no office. I mean, there is, like, you can have a room like that you go to, but you're still at home, right? So you're still kind of working from home, and it's like, oh yeah, the TV's over there. Oh yeah, we have internet. Oh yeah, we have Facebook. Oh yeah, it's like, there's a lot of distractions. So you have to really try and force yourself. I mean, force yourself is not really the right way to look at it. I mean, you shouldn't be forcing yourself to do it. If you are, again, you're probably not in the right place. But there's so much that you can be doing in the world and in life and in your house and whatever, that sometimes you do have to force yourself. You have to be like, okay, Tuesday at 4 p.m. till 10 p.m. is writing. And the rest of the day is, okay, I have shipping to do. I have, I have to build a Kickstarter. I have to do my marketing, whatever it is. But this day I'm going to go in there. I'm going to put 5 hours in, and I'm going to write, however many pages you do in 5 hours. So, and then you have to do that consistently to be able to maintain any sort of, consistency with your releases for your books. So you have to do it. You have to do it. And it's very hard when you work at home. A lot of people got a taste of work from home last year and the year before with COVID. They were going to the office, they were doing the normal thing, and all of a sudden they were like, well, now I'm home. I have to work from home. Like, how do I work from home? I can take a nap. I can take a bath. It's like, no, now you get it. Now you understand how difficult this can be, especially for creative people, because creative people's minds are always flying all over the place anyway. So for us to be able to like sit in the box and like, okay, I have to write today, sit in the box. Like, that's difficult sometimes.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, even now, I find, I'm trying to find time to read comics and really just focus on reading comics and not get distracted.
What's funny is I can't even read comics anymore. It's similar to like not that I can't read comics, but more specifically, and it's similar to like when I go to the movies too. I can't even watch a movie anymore unless it's something older that I'm just like totally like,
sure,
I can kind of just blank out on. But like a new movie, I can't even do that now with any sort of like joy, because instead of just reading it and enjoying it or watching it, I'm analyzing it. I'm coming at it from the writer's standpoint of, this is a terrible page layout. This is these balloons are placed poorly. Like, this doesn't make any sense. This is confusing to the eye, in the comics. And then when I'm watching a movie, I'm like, oh my God, what the hell are you people doing? What pacing is this? Like, this is terrible. So,
and just for the record, guys, he didn't feel that way about Eternals. When he was watching that, his eyes were glued to the screen.
That's right. Yeah, they were glued to my teeth, but they were glued to my phone screen is what happened. Yeah, but that's been a problem for me, is I come at everything now instead of just like the joy of it. Even Godzilla versus Kong last year, like, I am a diehard Godzilla guy, and I will watch terrible Godzilla movies for the most part. But even with Godzilla versus Kong, I was watching it and I'm like, Jesus Christ, there's like 3 monster fights. This is insane. But at the same time, I'm like, yo, there is no story here. Like, there is absolutely no story here. And the points that they're going over are so quickly glossed over. Like, oh yeah, that happened. Okay. And we're on. I'm just like, yo, no, I need more from you here. So it's a problem for me. And that's for those that know me, and I tear down things a lot. It's not even that I don't like them. It's just that I'm like, I expect more from a lot of things nowadays.
I'm with you on that. I read a book the other day that everybody hails and says is amazing. And then I read it and I felt exactly the same way you did. I'm like, where's the story? Where's the characters? Like, it feels like everything that the creators wanted to do with this book happened in a conversation that didn't make it to the page. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And it's like, you don't know who the characters are. You don't care because you've seen this 1,000 times already. Right. It's BS.
Well, and there's so much content. The world is filled with content.
Oh,
whether
absolutely.
It's comics or TV or movie. There's so much content that it's inevitable that you'll have seen this before. But it's the execution of that idea that really matters. And that's where a lot of stuff kind of tends to stumble. It's not so much the content of what it is, but the presentation of what it is. And so, and I'm not saying I'm perfect. I go back and look at some of my comics and I'm like, yo, how do I George Lucas this and solve these problems? But I like to think that if you go back to the beginning of Tom Hutchinson's writing career and you watch and you see where we are now, I'd like to think that you see growth in everything that we do. Especially for me, from a writing standpoint, I would like to say that you would be like, yeah, this is kind of rough, dude. But when you got to issue 10, like you started to feel your stride, because I kind of came out of nowhere in 2010. It was like, well, I'm just going to make comics. Like, I had no training. I had no mentors. I got D's in English class and I want to be a writer. Like, what? So everything that I did was basically osmosis of, 30 at that point, 30 some years of reading comics. I just kind of was like, I think I know how this works. Let me put it on the page or the computer screen and see what happens. And that was 12 years ago. So,
Well, one thing I will say about the presentation of your books over the years, and I come across your books and I sell your books all the time on my shows. I've read books that you put out too. The presentation and the artwork is always top quality. And that's something that you can't be taught. It's something you either understand or you don't.
Yeah, to some degree, that's true. There's some stuff for people to see there.
And folks, typically we were going to open up Tom's catalog for you guys to purchase stuff, but I think in light of Tom being on this journey, and honestly, I'll tell you guys, I want Tom to succeed, not only because he's my friend. I want to see Tom succeed because if the floodgates open for Tom with this, then that means that if I can look at Tom and say, well, Tom did it, now I can do it too. So I want to see this succeed for that reason as well. So
rising tide lifts all boats. So if the tide lifts me, it's going to take the guys that are at my level with me up. And if companies are starting to see that I have value in some capacity, then they're going to be like, well, okay, hey, you know what? We did well with Tom. Let's go talk to, these guys about toys. Let's go talk to these guys about toys. And again, the doors just keep opening. The more that
more stuff,
the more that stuff it becomes on the market. What happens if I put toys on my comic book con table, and somebody that runs an animation studio walks by and goes, yo, what's that toy? Oh, let me tell you about Critter. Exactly. By the way, here's an entire storyboard for season 1. Like, take it home with you. So everything changes perceptions. Every time you put a new product on the table, the door opens to somebody else, whether it's a fan or something bigger. You just gotta keep at it.
Which is why I want to direct you guys to go and back this campaign right now. Tom, you're what, $8,000 away from
Ish, yeah, 8 and some change, and we have 2 weeks left.
Let's get to that 0 point before that 2 weeks come, so that you can hit those stretch goals and really hit it. And Chris Steischel, he shared the Kickstarter campaign link. So Kyle, I don't know if you're here right now. If you can just put that link, just copy it and paste it again for everybody. And,
super easy too, guys. Go to Kickstarter.com. There's a search button. You can type in Critter. You can type in Tom Hutchinson. Either way will pop up to the top. You'll find us. You click on it. You can scroll through the campaign, see all the fun stuff. And then down the right side is all of the items individual, whichever one you want. Bump, I want that toy. Bump, I want that comic, whatever you want. There it is. There's the link from Chris. So you guys can just click right on that link. Make it easy. Thank you, Chris. And if you have questions, here's the thing. There's a message section that you can just send a message to me too. So if you have questions about what you're seeing, just send me a message and I'll get a notification. Yo, Amy Joe sent a message. I'll be okay. And I can answer your questions and kind of guide you, especially if you've never done Kickstarter before. Sometimes it can be a little overwhelming. Like, what am I looking at? So we can help kind of guide you through the process if it's not making sense to you.
Tom, thank you so much for coming on. We got to bring our next guest on. I wish you the best of luck. I'm going to be in your corner for this, and I can't wait to see this action figure. I'm so excited for you and everything that you got going on, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, and we'll see you next time.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much. And guys, as we're coming to the second half of our show, I just want to mention that Jen King just booked her next guest for her show, Talking Shop, next week. She's got Jim Valentino coming on board. And Jim Valentino, the Jim Valentino from Shadowline. And another thing I want to mention about Tom before we move on to our second guest. What's going on, Steve? How you doing, man?
How's it going? How are you?
Not ignoring you at all, my friend.
No, I know. No, that was I caught the end of that. That was really it's a really good conversation.
Yeah, and here's the thing about Tom. I just want to say one last thing before we move on. Tom is extremely responsive to to anybody, really. If you message Tom, he's going to get back to you very fast. He's got great customer service as a dealer, as a publisher, as everything. So please help him get to his goal, because it's an inspiration to guys like me and guys like Steve. We're trying to grow our brand. We're looking to guys like Tom who are, paving the way. A rising tide raises all ships. And with that said, we are bringing back one of my favorite people in comics. This guy's books have sold out multiple times. I'm kicking it, and I just got a big stack here for you guys right here, right now, because you demanded it. You guys wanted this. So we got him here right now. How you doing, man?
Let me mention, you probably didn't look through them, but in all the issue 3s, I inserted a sketch inside each one.
This is amazing. Okay, so we got pre-signed.
Pre-signed.
The brand new issue 3 is out. So for those of you guys who have issues 1 and 2, this is your chance to get issue 3. And where are the sketches? Are they in?
It should fall out of there somewhere, I hope. Is it not in that one?
Yeah, maybe it's.
I'll have to send you an.
Oh, no. No, it's here. I found it.
Okay. All right.
Check that out.
So we just did little sketches in there.
David Moore needs issue 3. So, Steve, what do we got this going for?
$4.
So $4. David Moore, I got you on that. David Moore's back in the house. He's ready to buy it. So for those of us who are new to your incredible series, can you tell us what Monster Matador Tango of the Matadors is all about?
It's a post-apocalyptic throwdown about a matador who fights kaiju monsters to make a better world for his daughter. It's basically a matador who fights like kaiju monsters, like Godzilla style monsters with his cape and sword. It's inspired by Mad Max, Godzilla, 80s action movies, and telenovelas. And Tango of the Matadors was our first 3-issue miniseries that introduces the character to a larger audience. And in it, an old face from the past returns, and we don't know if he's friend or foe. The Matador is in Guatemala fighting the Volagante. He's helping a group of fighters take back their city from this giant kaiju fly who has thousands of little kaiju children. So it's basically a battle royale.
So Steve, we already sold 2 copies of issue 3. How does that feel?
Excellent. Thank you. It feels good.
Yes, we have issues 1 and 2 as well, Chris. If you get issues 1, 2, and 3 as a set, it's going to be $12. These are all signed in advance by Steven. So let me know if you want to add it on. I got you on for a set.
Get the whole story. Don't just read the end of it.
Yeah, just don't. You might as well. Adam, if you want all 3, I mean, I got plenty of sets here, and we can always order more from Steven. This is a book that's always been a great seller for me, and this is a fresh stock, which means that I've sold through everything. I didn't have anything else. Yeah. Full set for Adam Skinner, and we got a full set for.
And it's drawn by Fabio Alves, who you can see the back behind me. This is for our next book that we should be available soon, after Apocalypse. But Fabio is a Ringo Award nominated artist. He worked on a book called Banjax that was nominated for Ringo's. He was nominated for his cover work. And he's also drawn The Jump for Ryland Grant, which is a big hit on Kickstarter. And our colorist is Alex Zieff, who is the new colorist on Cult of Dracula.
That's amazing. Yeah.
North Point Press. So I'm going to say I discovered her, and
that Richard Davis afterwards figured out. Okay, and decided to poach her from you. Well, it's okay because Ted Sikora is poached artist from me recently. He's a big poacher and a vulture. That's just how it goes sometimes in this business. Yeah. So, Chris, Steve, I just want to let you know that we have sold 3 sets already, which means that I only have 2 sets of issues 1 through 3 left, and only 1 set of issue 3.
Okay. Well, we can sell as many sets as you want. And
exactly. I'm just saying from what I ordered.
No, that's great.
That's how quick this is going, and that always makes me feel great because I get to see fans connecting with you and everything. Yeah. So you've kind of given us an update on what you've been up to, folks. Just so you know, there's 2 sets left. I told you before when I initially posted it that this was going to go really fast. All right. And this is the best part about today's episode. we had Tom on, and Tom's got his campaign right now, and I'm directing you guys over there to support Tom because I want to see Tom hit his goal. We got Stephen here with books that are ready now to go, signed. You guys, there's no waiting here. I'm going to invoice you, and I will get these books out very fast. And if we sell out of this, like Stephen said, there's more, and we're always going to order more. This is a book we will always stock as long as you guys are out here buying it. So, so you're working on your next thing now. So
well, we kickstarted Afropocalypse, which is behind me, and that's a 64-page graphic novel, and it's at the printer right now, like everybody else. The paper shortage has hit us.
I'm so scared of this. Like I'm almost done with the next issue of Eastern Shin. Like we just finished Colors today. I want to say, not officially, unofficially. And I still got to letter it, and I'm like, I haven't talked to a printer in like since 2019. Because I haven't had to print anything. So now I'm going back to press with stuff, and I don't even know where to start with I'm terrified. You know, I got a new printer, and
I'm hoping it starts to get better because, you know, it's been a while now. So I think what happened, what I heard was that a lot of the factories shifted to doing cardboard during the pandemic. So now they're kind of shifting back. And that's kind of where this whole kind of bottleneck happened and this shortage happened, was because they just weren't printing paper, you know, because there was such a demand for cardboard. So hopefully, because I mean, we can talk about this a little, but you know, a lot of people ask me, you know, why haven't you gone to a publisher? You know, when's that happening? And we've been working on stuff behind the scenes for Monster Matador because there has been a lot of interest in it. So we're hoping to announce some things in the next few months or this year. And a lot of that pertains to, you know, having books out there. So it's like right now, everyone, I think, has their fingers crossed that, you know, there's going to be enough paper for everything. But there's hopefully some big things coming down the line.
Well, I want to ask you this because I've been kind of having this realization myself lately. So, you know, I've been dealing now for the last, I want to say 3 or 4 years. Just, you know, first I initially kind of like started out doing eBay stuff. And then once the pandemic hit, it became my full-time job.
Right.
And so now I'm setting up as, I'm going legit. I'm setting up my business as an S Corp so I can get everything in place and, you know, start to really do this. And
you write off meals now.
Yeah, write off meals and, you know, do all that as if I wasn't doing it before. But, you know, when I first started out in publishing, I had kind of like a different setup. And, you know, now I'm juggling too. So I have 2 businesses that I'm running. Yeah. And, you know, it's a tricky, you know, animal. But I keep thinking to myself, what's my end goal? Like, where do I want to end up? Right. And I was thinking about it the other day, and I'm like, you know, as much as I love publishing and as much as I love doing all this work, it really does take time away from me being able to get myself out there. Yeah. And I think I made a decision for myself, you know, that I want to work at some point at Marvel. You know, I was having a conversation with one of my editors, and I was like, yeah, I want to go work for Marvel and DC at some point, just to, you know, just to say I got to write Spider-Man or some character, you know, because that is what got me into comics. Right. So now I'm going to pass it over to you. Yeah. You know, what is your like grand goal in comics? PJ, what's up, man? Good to see you.
You know, honestly, I just want to be able to put out my own stuff, create like a market for that, you know, a sustainable market that, I mean, I grew up. So for me, like, I honestly, like, you know, if Marvel called me tomorrow and said, hey, we want you to write a book or something, I'd happily do it. But it's not like, never been like a focus or goal of mine. I grew up reading comics around 91. Okay. So right around 90, 91, right when Image, right when all those guys left for Image. And I was about 13 and kind of getting into, anti-establishment and all that stuff. So it was just like but it was like the perfect time, and that what they did and the path that they took always kind of stuck with me, you know what I mean? And that's always been to me, that was comics. It's like you have generations of artists and writers who have just been screwed over, and these guys kind of said, we're not going to take it anymore. And we're gonna figure out a way to do it. And I've always admired that, and I've always admired that independent spirit,
Yeah.
And for me, there's something really cool about creating something and putting it out there and getting people to like it, or people responding to it in a positive way. And I like having that control over my work, I guess.
Which makes sense. I totally, I can totally understand, the desire to want to be able to control your own destiny with your project.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, this is kind of a weird thing. And I don't mean this in like a negative way or whatever, but to me, like at this point, in terms of like things like Spider-Man or Batman, like writing one of those, it's kind of like a novelty, It's sort of like saying like, oh, I'm going to write Tarzan. You know what I mean? Like these characters are so old, which is fine. Like I love them. Like I love No Way Home. I love all the Marvel movies. I'm going to see all the new, but it's also kind of like, I feel like we've been stuck with these characters for so long. Like I want to see the new stuff. You know what I mean?
Which is what I agree with you. I think we all want to see.
That's what I want to be a part of, because that to me is exciting. It's a lot more exciting than sort of going back and writing Spider-Man or Daredevil or whatever. Like as much as I love those characters, like in a lot of ways too, they're not the characters I love anymore,
Sure. I agree with you.
Yeah.
They're very different now.
Yeah.
And you're on point with everything you're saying. I totally agree with you. I think that so Anvu's taking a set of 1 through 3. So we got one last set of 1 through 3. And PJ, you were mentioning that you liked Monster Matador. Now, the last time I sold this book, I had issues 1 and 2. I have issue 3 available for $4. Let me know if you want to add that on. Anvu, I got you. I will add this to your invoice. And Anvu, I need to get in touch with you regarding your order, and Adam Skinner as well. I think what happened with you guys is your stuff got lost in transit, and I need to find the tracking number for it. If we can't find it, I will make it right by giving you guys a credit, and you guys can use that at any point for any other comics that you have, and we'll just call it even that way, but we'll figure it out. So just so everybody knows, there is one set left of issues 1 through 3. Okay, PJ's taking the last set. So we're down to one last issue 3 right here. And that is it. This is actually, I have 2 issue 3s left, and that is it. So 2 issue 3s. We are all sold out otherwise of Monster Matador. But Stephen can make it up to you guys right now because he's got it. So if you guys want to grab it, we can grab I can order up 2 more issue 1s and 2s, and we'll probably do that anyway, just so I have a complete.
Yeah, however you want to fill it out. That's fine.
Go ahead. Add it to me. So I'll sell these on Kicking It at some point. So you got me for that. So now if you guys want to buy it, you guys can either get 2 more sets from me, or you guys can just order direct. We'll throw it out to Stephen here. Let's give him some business here. If you guys want to order it now, he will take care of you guys from here. And this is an amazing thing, man. You've really put out a great series here to
Thank
where
you.
every time I've had you on the show, your book has sold out. That's a sign right there.
No, it's good. The response, we've been taking it to, we did LA Comic-Con, and the response was really good. I just did Pasadena Con this weekend. The response was good. So it's nice being able to get out with the book too, and show it to people. The response has been great. It's really rewarding, I'm really happy that people have connected with it, and I'm very lucky. I have honestly, such an amazing creative team. I'll put this book up against anything that's being put out by a real publisher or whatever.
Those fake publishers have no idea what's coming.
But I mean,
no, but you're right. I get what you're saying. It's
and that's a nice thing. You're talking to Tom. I mean, your stuff, obviously, Yisu Shin. When you're talking about Kickstarter books, when you're talking about indie comics today, the level of quality, fortunately, is really up there. There's some really great stuff coming out right now. So
I agree.
And more people are starting to notice that, which is great. I think Tom had sort of touched on that toward the end of his time with you.
Yeah, I mean, I think definitely what we're seeing come out of out of independent comics period is really fantastic. I mean, right now independent comics are where it's at, and I do think that the same passion that everybody has for the superhero stuff, that passion tomorrow is gonna go over to the independent side.
Yeah.
Because eventually, people are gonna get. You already see Batman fatigue, for example.
Dude,
no one's excited about this movie.
500 Batman books a week, man. Small press publisher. I did say real publisher in quotes, so don't be offended.
So
I'm with you. Don't worry about it.
I think that we're definitely going to see that change in everything. As time goes on. And I don't think we're far off from it. To be honest, we're already kind of seeing it.
Yeah. A lot of publishers are looking now to Kickstarter and whatever for new books, for projects. So yeah.
So are you working on any other projects aside from this?
Yeah, I've got a couple of things in development right now. I have artists, I have stories. It's just the reality is just money right now. It's just cost.
Yeah.
And right now, Monster Matador is it's doing well, and we've got, like I said, we have some things going on behind the scenes that are will hopefully propel it even further forward. So my focus is on that for the moment, and right now, as we get that up and running. But I'm hoping to have something else probably in the fall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's tough. I pay my artists and creators, up front. We don't do after the fact.
Which is always the right way to do it.
Yeah. So it makes it a little more challenging to do kind of multiple books because, with Matador, we just did a 64-page one shot. So that's that's a big expense. Our next one is also going to be 64 pages. So, when
do you think you'll actually have the books in hand?
I'm hoping next month. Or March the latest.
So are there delays as a result of the shortage, or is it?
Yeah, they're just backed up. They're just basically waiting on a paper shipment, and then they're getting through orders. So yeah, and they were doing fine. Everyone was kind of doing fine up until around, because when I got in contact with them, right around my Kickstarter, they were still full speed ahead. And then the kind of mid-December, that's when it hit everybody, I think. And now everyone's just waiting for their shipments to come in.
So can you sign me up, since I have 2 copies of this issue 3 of issue 3?
Oh, I have those.
No, those you have.
No, yeah.
I need 2 more sets of issues 1 and 2 for myself. So you can mark that down for
Yeah,
me.
I have that now. I can send that this week. I can.
No. Well, what I was going to ask is,
Mhm.
I really want that 64-page book.
Yeah, we'll get that Onrie.
As soon as you get,
as soon as I get it, you know.
Yeah, and when you get it, I want to get 5 copies of that.
You got it.
And we're gonna offer it up to you guys as well. If anybody else wants that, can we take pre-orders on it? If anybody's interested in the 64-page book. So we got 8 minutes to go before Nick's art show comes on. So if anybody wants to pre-order the 64-page follow-up, Afropocalypse, now is the time to do it. And tell us a little bit more about it. What's the cover price on it, and what's happening? Like, where are we in the story?
I'll do, for your listeners, I'll do $10.
$10 on a 64-page book. That is a solid price, guys. For
an indie book, it's a very solid price. But I like Onrie, and I appreciate the support he gives to indie comics. And I'll throw in some some extras in there. We did some fun little, like, we call it a press photo. This picture right here, we did like some press photos and things like that. It is basically the Monster Matador joins an international team of kaiju killers to hunt down an ancient evil that has risen in South Africa that threatens to unleash a zombie apocalypse.
So you got 2 pre-orders from Adam Skinner and PJ.
Cool, man.
And Stephen, you can since you're getting them all at once, you can just ship them all to me, and I can handle invoicing and take care of everything. So we can. So
once I get them, we'll do those issue 1 and 2.
But you can put me down for another 5 on top of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm just gonna mark that down. So
So
PJ, we got you on that. And now PJ and Adam, I'll invoice you once I have the books in hand. Adam, I did call you earlier. I did mention you earlier. I was referring to the order of yours that you're waiting for me that's lost in transit. We can talk about that later. All right. So Adam is pre, and PJ is pre, and then I got 5 more coming my way.
So the fun thing about this book is it's kind of like my love letter to Predator, and we actually have some indie comic creators as guest stars in the book. David Schrader and Christian Horn play the German duo of Hans and Schrader, and they are the co-creators of a book called Baby Badass that had come out from Action Lab. And then if you're familiar with Predator, you'll know that Shane Black, who's a screenwriter who did Lethal Weapon, The Last Boy Scout,
Iron Man 3.
Yeah, he had a role in he was in Predator. They had kind of put him on the set because they wanted him to rewrite the movie as it went along. And from what I had read, he refused, so they killed him off early. But we do have a bona fide comic creator and screenwriter. Ryland Grant is also one of the kaiju killers, and his books are he did Banjax and Aberrant for Action Lab. He just did Suicide Jockeys for Source Point Press.
Are you speaking of the micro press publishers like Source Point Press, Scout Comics? Have you been in talks with them? Are you looking to take something to them at some point?
Probably not this book. Like I said, right now I'm working.
Yeah, you got other plans with this, but
we have something. Yeah, so we have something going on that I can talk to. I actually have questions for you later about it, but it's a
sure, no, absolutely. Yeah. I'm always an open for you.
But yeah, I mean, like the other books that we're talking about that I'm kind of developing would definitely, I think it's good to diversify, but it's also kind of like when you have something special, and I think Monster Matador for me is something really special. You kind of want to, take care of it. And
it's interesting you mentioned that because lately I've been thinking a lot about where I've been with Yisum Shin and where I need to go with Yisum Shin. And honestly, I'm ready to kind of spread my wings and start doing other projects. And I have a new book coming out this year that's not related to Yisum Shin, but I also got a new Yisum Shin book coming out too. I love the idea of being able to do new things and keeping it edgy and all
Right.
that stuff. And when I look at what you're doing, it's a huge inspiration to me, because it's like showing me, hey, you know, it can be done.
Yeah.
And these books are absolutely beautiful. We are running out of time now because we actually got to get going.
I want to comment on Chris. Chris just said, "Pay me now, or I'll make you watch Eternals." Let me tell you, I was supposed to do an interview last night, and the host never showed up. No joke. He literally fell into a coma watching the Eternals.
Shut up.
And didn't get up until 1 a.m.
Oh, he fell asleep. Okay. Oh, he like fell into an actual. I liked Eternals. I don't know.
I haven't seen it yet.
I'm like Butters. I'm
gonna watch it this weekend, but I haven't seen it yet.
There's that episode of South Park where Butters, the Indiana Jones episode where they showed how George Lucas and Steven Spielberg, you know, like you know, they took advantage of Indiana Jones. Yeah. And I'm like Butters, and like I'm the guy who's like, it was actually pretty good. Right. And I did like it. I thought it was a great movie. But Steven, I hate to do this. We got to get going.
No, we're good.
Next show is coming up.
I'm not hating on it. I'm just saying what happened last night. I haven't seen it.
It's Kyle's favorite show, or he's just so tired of hearing how much everybody hates it. Steven, thank you again for coming.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and thanks everybody for your support.
Everybody's already paid up on their books. It's all ready to go. You have very loyal fans here, and we want to see you continue to reach new heights with your success. And we wish you all the best of luck. Thank you so much for coming on Virtual Signings.
All right. See you guys probably in a month or two. Bye.
Yes, exactly. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Have a great week and a weekend. And next week I'll be back. We got 2 new all-star guests coming next week. I will see you guys then. Take care.